most dangerous situations a police officer may face is the engagement in high-speed chases. These high-risk situations require skillful execution of driving at high speeds while monitoring the surroundings, the suspect vehicle, and remaining hyper-vigilant for other road users. Moreover, the cost and benefits of the pursuit needs to be effectively determined such that the chase can be terminated when it poses too great of a risk to the public. After a number of high-speed pursuits resulted in tragedy, there had been increased demand for the Australian police to revise pursuit policies and update training protocols. Consequently, the Australian Federal Police have become increasingly interested in using simulated training methods. So, what are simulations? Simulations are mechanisms often used in training to provide experience or to immerse learners in dynamic and evolving situations. The application of simulations for training is often when the real task is too dangerous, expensive, or infrequently encountered, such that practice in the real world is too difficult. Moreover, the use of simulations will allow for high-quality feedback, increased motivation, and enable practice scheduling that can promote high-quality learning. A recent meta-analysis found that in comparison to other forms of training, simulation-based training was effective at improving a broad range of complex skills. Of particular interest, the largest effects were found for tasks requiring technical skills, followed by problem-solving and problem-diagnosing skills. While skill improvement was evident with non-technology-based simulations, the addition of recent technologies that enhance sensory perception, such as virtual reality, shows further improvements. So, there is evidence to suggest simulations may be an effective mode of training for the Australian Federal Police to use in training their recruits for dangerous high-speed pursuits. The next question is, when designing a simulation, what are considerations that needs to be taken into account to ensure that the practice in the simulation transfers into the real world? Physical fidelity is an important consideration. This is the realism of the situation in terms of physical and visual traits. The conditions of the simulation should mirror what the policeman would experience in the real world to improve skills transfer. For example, rather than a typical computer setup, simulation exercises should use a virtual reality headset so that the trainee can interact with the simulated world as they move their physical bodies. Additionally, a driving rig with a steering wheel, gearbox, and foot pedals would increase the physical fidelity. Another consideration would be psychological fidelity. This refers to how realistic the simulation feels, which reflects on whether the behavior within the simulation will transfer to the real world. That is, will an individual act the same way in the real world as they did in the simulation? Although driving simulations may have excellent physical fidelity, where trainees feel like they're physically in a real car, the opposite tends to be true for psychological fidelity. This is because trainees know that they won't get hurt if they crash. This could somewhat be counteracted by building a room or a large rig to mimic movements of the car simulation, akin to those used in the aviation industry. This would provide haptic feedback upon collisions and aggressive maneuvering. Considerations of costs and benefits must also be accounted for. Although the cost of developing such software with new technology would be expensive, training in virtual reality could mitigate the destructive consequences of mistakes such as loss of life. It allows for more frequent exposure to high-risk situations as opposed to on-the-job encounter rates of such scenarios. Lastly, according to Cheng and colleagues, these simulation exercises must be paired with high-quality feedback and debriefing sessions post-exercises to allow for optimal outcomes and skills improvement. All in all, simulations are an innovative way to integrate the advances of technology into promoting further improvements as long as physical and psychological fidelity are considered. We have loosely applied this to training the police force for high-speed pursuits. However, it is evident that the benefits can be extended to various other domains to improve skills or gain experience.